Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome back to Busting Rainbow Six Siege. Today we are Mythbusting Sens and this is part 2, so make sure you also watch part 1 as well, which is out now. But let's get right back into it. Jger versus Sens. So when this operator was first teased in the teaser trailer, I said I doubt that both Wamai and Jger will be able to counter this operator, and I was wrong because obviously ended up both of them having counters, and Jger being the most powerful counter out of the two of them because he destroys the wheel. Now the lasers that already went up, they will stay up, and I could see this actually being an advantage for the Sen players as well, because this could become a tactic where you throw these wheels in order to actually find and disable the Jaeger's ADS, because you can obviously get some of your cover up and potentially put Jaegers on their cooldown. So I could see Sens actually being a counter for Jger in some way, but depends on the strats and the way they're played by the teams. But certainly it is confirmed. And that leads us straight into Wamai. Now, he is a counter to Sens, but I actually think a really weak one, and we'll go over that shortly. But certainly we've got some magnets set up here, and we're going to throw our gadget, and of course it gets grabbed, it gets pulled in, and then it takes off, and you'll see it doesn't get picked up by the second magnet there. So it's kind of like Gridlock's tracks, how they'll get sucked into the magnet, but they'll still go off afterwards. There's also a little bit of additional complexity. So in this example, what I'm going to do is actually roll the wheel out, so it puts down lasers as it goes, then it'll get grabbed by the magnet. So you'll see how it gets pulled in, and then after that it's off again, creating more lasers. So yeah, actually rather interesting. However, as a Sens player, you can take full advantage of this, because what happens is the magnet will send the wheel back out on the way you threw it. So for instance, this magnet here, let's say I want to get my cover in front of that door over there. So if I keep this angle, then what's going to happen is that magnet will pick it up and then grab it and just send it right on there without me actually having to ever be in the position where I might get shot from that door. And as a result, you end up with the ability to use the magnets, if you know where they are, in order to put out these covers without actually revealing your body at all. And it's surprisingly effective, and you can get pretty damn good at it. Example, we've got this magnet here that's on a kind of angled surface. So I'm going to throw it in a way that it'll bounce off the kind of bookcase or whatever it is, and actually bounce back and cover the doorway without me, again, having to actually reveal myself. And these examples are, of course, super basic, like super low level, but I could see the potentials for getting some really tactical moves by using the enemy's gadget to actually help you get into a more advantageous position than you would be just throwing it from a window or whatever. And as a result, you end up with what I would say is a pretty cool little kind of interaction with Wamai's magnets that you can use to your own advantage, rather than actually Wamai being the one taking advantage of you, which I think is great. I wish we could somehow figure that out with Jger, but unfortunately his gadget of course just annihilates yours. But yeah, even stuff that's on the roof here, we can deliberately throw the wheel up in the air. You can actually throw this thing pretty far if you want to. So for this instance, we're going to try and get it so that it ends up positioning itself on our side of the desk, moving out and projecting cover, rather than getting caught on any of the desks or stuff like that. And you'll see how it just takes that original orientation and moves with it. So yeah, I think that's really cool, and actually that's something I prefer about Wamai than Jger. There's a bit more complexity to how it can be played, and it is certainly confirmed Wamai is definitely a counter in air quotes, but a well-played Sens player can definitely make it their advantage. Claymore with Sens. So when I first tested this, I thought that the lasers got cut off by the other lasers of Sen, but I was actually wrong, because what happens is, yeah, they just poke through, which kind of sucks. I actually would love if they physically cut off the lasers until Sen's ones actually disappeared, because I could imagine throwing this into a room, then jumping in, putting some claymores, and then leaving the room hoping that some defenders would get caught when the lasers went down and the claymore lasers went out, and big booms. That would be sweet. But certainly it's busted for letting the lasers through, but confirmed for killing the defender. Castle versus Sens. So I had a ton of trouble figuring this out with Castle. So first of all, if you look here, you'll notice that Castle is bumping up as he walks through this door frame, only by a couple of pixels, but it's because we got this wooden strip along here. However, this double door is completely flush, even though visually there's a bump, you don't actually go up and over it when you walk on it. So it's good to know that because we're about to explain what is going to go on here, because this confused me for a while. I thought it was maybe debris, I thought it was other stuff, but what it caused was just an issue with Castle. Now I think this gadget is supposed to be able to just go straight under castles like this one here, no problem whatsoever. However, because we've got that bump, if we actually put the castle on the other side, and I assume this is going to get fixed, I assume this is a bug, but we'll break it down because it just took me freaking ages to figure out what the heck was going on. But now we have the castle barricade and the bump is before it. Now, there is debris there, so we'll just take that away. And if you didn't already know, the way you take away debris is you make more debris. So I've gone and yanked up and pulled down a whole bunch of castles, and we've almost got a debris to go away. We just need one more and it'll be done. So what's going to happen this time is we had the castle on our side and it went through, the wheel went through fine. But now we have it on the other. So we've got the bump in the wooden frame, then the castle. So this is now going to react differently with the gadget. It'll now bounce back. Sometimes it can also get stuck as well. But if we put it on a double door, and I showed you earlier where we don't bump up and down because this is actually flush, even though visually we can see a bump, the actual in-game map for it is completely flush. So if we put it on the other side, like we had on this door, it goes through fine. So this took me a long time to figure out what the heck was going on here. So I don't know if this just means the tolerances are off, because this is not just a castle thing, this happens on barricades as well. And it just depends on the type of door, and if it's got that bump, and which side the barricade is on. So hopefully they can fix this and make it more consistent. And I assume maybe the easiest way is simply to make the wheel a tiny bit smaller, as I believe the tolerances here are just too tight basically. And my conclusion here is that it's confirmed. You should be able to put this wheel underneath castle barricades, no problem. It should work fine. I think this is a bug, but considering either it's a fix with just making the gadget a tiny bit smaller or something like that, or if it's not, then it might mean fixing all the doors, which might mean that it doesn't get fixed. Yeah, there's definitely an issue right now, but I hope by the time it goes live, this will be solved. But anyway guys, that is a range of tests with Sens. And I've got to say, I had a lot of fun testing this operator. There's a lot of interactions with defenders, and there's also a lot of potential team-ups with attackers that I am equally scared of, and I think are also going to be very fun. But what I still can't say for now is how good this operator is going to be. I think for the most part, this operator is going to be underwhelming, but then in the right hands, I could see this being a god tier operator. So I'm just curious to see how this will play out once people get proper tactics and coordination and strats with this operator going. And obviously not have a warden in the game on the other side. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.